again. And my client feedback, they said, in my feedback that was given to me from my client, the positive feedback they said was I was talkative. I kept up a general conversation throughout the session, which made them feel like I wasn't just there to tell them to exercise, and made them feel like they wanted to work harder. They also said I was very clear with my explanation of the exercises. They had not performed battle ropes before, but understood first time of demonstrating how to do it. And this was helpful for them as they didn't have to feel awkward asking for me to repeat myself or for them to perform it incorrectly. They also said they enjoyed the exercises as they were different to what they had done before and enjoyed the warm-up. The negatives, they said I could have been more personal at the start to comfort them as well. I made them feel more involved in the exercise and not just towards the end. And that the cool-down was a bit basic and I would have enjoyed something different to help keep them engaged with cooling down. They said the intensity of the exercise was good, at a good level, and they can keep working on that, and the rest of it was fine. My peer observer feedback said that I should have been a little bit more on the same level with my client as to make them feel more involved during the exercise, as you can see in the photo, where my client is down on the floor performing sit-ups, I'm standing, showing sort of like we're not on the same level. However, later on in the session, I did adjust and lower myself to the client in the later stages of the session, but I should have been doing this from the beginning. This can be seen on the picture on the right during the sit-ups on a later circuit. However, they said I created different and creative warm-up, and they said it looked fun and new. They also said I was well organised in getting out, setting up and packing away the equipment, which shows good organisational skills. I also forgot to ask if they'd gained any injuries from the time the PARQ and client health test was last assessed. He was perfectly fine from the last checkup, however I was lucky, as if he had been injured I wouldn't have known and could have further injured them or worsened their condition, or they would have had to just sack off the whole exercise session because they couldn't do it, which would have been quite bad. Here is photo evidence of the session being performed. And here are the strengths and areas of development regarding me leading my session. The strengths, I have a clear exercise plan. So the actual circuit that was planned out was very clear and easy to understand and perform without any complications. Well-explained exercises, as some of the exercises my client had to perform he hadn't done before. However, I was able to convey how to perform them without my client being confused on how to do so. I was talkative, so during the session, I was able to keep conversation and general talk going. This meant for the client it was a lot more of an interactive experience and would have helped them relax into the session, made them feel a lot more comfortable with me while in the session. I had alternatives planned out to be performed if they had arrived with a new injury or they could not perform the original exercise for any reason. This meant they were able to work out whatever had happened, so they did not feel as if they'd missed a session. By correcting my client's technique throughout the session, it demonstrated to them that not only I was confident knowing how to perform the exercises which would put them at ease, it would mean that they then know how to perform the exercises properly, but also because it allowed for them to feel a lot more relaxed in the session in what they were doing, as I would give them pointers or on what to do if they were going wrong, which wasn't often. And the final positive I've chosen is I was encouraging throughout the session towards my client. By this I mean I was giving positive words to them, like keep going, you're doing really well, and keep pushing it, you've got not long left, keep going. As by doing this, it will make my client feel better about themselves, and it was maximal effort exercise. And as it was maximal effort exercise, they may have started to slack towards the end, but by doing this, it creates external motivation for them to keep pushing themselves to get the most out of the session. Weaknesses is the enthusiasm. I wasn't enthusiastic while performing I wasn't overly enthusiastic while performing my session. However, I feel like if I had been more enthusiastic about the training session, it may have encouraged my client to try harder, as it would feel like we're both here for them and their fitness. It also would have created a much more fun and joyful environment to exercise in. Being more one-on-one. By being more one-on-one, I mean by being more involved with the exercise rather than just standing beside them and telling them when to stop and start. This is because a lot of the time I found myself just standing looking at the stopwatch and telling my client when they're done when they're nearly done, and when they can stop. But I should have really been down beside them, encouraging them more to push themselves harder and keep motivating them to exercise. This links with being more personal at the start of the session. And I was a bit nervous before the session. I didn't know how it was going to go, and I acted a bit hesitant. However, as it got further into the session, I grew into it a bit more and relaxed some more, which allowed for much more personal feel to the session, and not just me telling Ben to exercise and to stop. This can make the client feel a lot more welcoming at the beginning. I can work on making the client feel a lot more welcomed at the beginning, so they can feel better about performing exercises as well. And my speech, I think at the start of my session again, I was not an appropriate level of loudness because it was a busy sports hall. There's a lot of noise. This means there was a lot of people making noise. My client had got me to repeat myself once or twice. So if I'd raised my voice, this wouldn't have happened and he wouldn't have had to do so. Here are my client aims again. And the strengths and areas for development regarding my whole program writing. The areas of improvement would be, for quite a lot of the sessions I had similar warm-ups and cool-downs. This could be an issue because as people start repeating the same or similar things over and over again, they start to become more slack and lazy when performing them. And this can lead to injury if they don't warm up properly. It can also lead to slower recovery time if they don't cool down properly, which could be an issue if they start doing that, as it would mean they would sort of get off track on the time scale of the whole program. I might have increased the intensity too quickly. This would lead to the whole program being too difficult to perform, and then I would have to lower the weights and intensity for them. This also might have a double effect on, one, having to rearrange the whole program, but two, it might demotivate them to perform exercises. They might see themselves as not doing as well as they could have been doing, or doing as high as I predicted. This would be my fault, but they would still probably it would still resonate with them. And adding more, I probably could have added more things about their general lifestyle and diet. This is because a big part of increasing muscle strength is to do with what you eat. And if I prescribed what they should have been eating and helped them out with that area as well, it could have helped their progress to their goals. Help them progress to their goals even more and a lot quicker. However, the strengths, I had quite a few varying main activities. This led to my client not getting bored of performing at least their main sessions, as they were near always different from the previous week. So it was something new to do and kept them engaged. I performed a midway test. This is good as it allowed for me to check and test them to see if they were progressing as I would like them to. It would also give me a chance to change their program if the results were not as good as what I or what the client wanted or was expecting by the halfway mark. And we could have fixed it for the second half of the program. And I had alternatives planned so they could still exercise and perform their workout to prevent reversibility, even if they could not perform the original warm-up, cool-down and main session. And this means, one, they won't get because when you take a break from exercise, you can usually just become a lot more demotivated to perform it. So having alternatives allowed them to stick in the rhythm of exercise and not have to keep going in and out of working and not working.